Okay, today I'm gonna show you how we can wrap some sketch functionality into a library. Let's take an example. Imagine you started your processing and you wrote some kind of function or method which you use in your sketch and you want to use it in other sketches. Let's, for example, look at this simple sketch. Of course, first we start with size, and then we go into draw, and here you have this function called draw random rectangles, which obviously all it's gonna do on the screen is to draw random rectangles. So let's write this function, draw random uh, rectangles, and all it basically does, it just gets random x coordinates from width, random y coordinate from height, and it gets uh, random size. Let's say that the width and height will be between 20 and 30, and that's basically plot size 2, random 20 and 30, and then what we do here is do rectangle and x, x, y, y, and two sizes. And if we run the sketch, then all we can see is that it's showing us rectangles drawn in different places of the screen. Sometimes this may be a useful function, but let's say we want also to add the color. So we put no stroke, uh, and we put the color to fill red color. So now we run the sketch, and yes, it fills screen with red rectangles. So let's imagine you want to reuse this function in other sketches. And what you are talking about is that you want to start your sketch, uh, and again you put size, of course. And then what you want to do, you want to make draw, and you want to use here something like draw random rectangles. And that's something what you may want to use it for, which is a very normal thing. You may have a different thousand different functions you may want to have, and that is very useful. So how do we do this? In order to make this simple, I made this template for making your own libraries. And first we have what we have to do. We have to download the template. So we go to the github.com/link here, which is my repository, and then you go into repositories and you find Simplicity. You go into the Simplicity repository. Then you be careful, you have to select the Simplicity J branch. You go to Simplicity J. Make sure this here, the URL tells Simplicity J. And then over here, I'll maximize the window, you can download zip, and you can see that once I'm hovering over here on the bottom left, you will get the URL, and the URL is Simplicity J in the end. So now I download the zip, I can open the zip file, and it's very good, and now I can actually close the browser because I don't need it anymore. Okay, now I'm going back to the Simplicity J. This is an archive, and to use this archive, all you have to do, I made it even simpler, you have to find your processing directory, and all you have to do is just extract or copy this directory into your processing directory. It doesn't matter if it's called just Simplicity or Simplicity J. What's important, you can see those files inside, and it doesn't really matter how exactly it is called. So now you have actually installed the template, copy template on your computer. And what you can do now is a very, very interesting thing, very simple. To edit your library, all you have to do, you have to go over here to the source folder. So you remember, first of all, you remember where it is. There is a source folder, and it has Simplicity folder. And over here you can see there is a Simplicity PD. So basically, over here you can find is just a regular sketch, which actually is your library. So we just need to remember that we need to go to open, and then what we want to do, we want to go to our processing folder. We go to the simplicity, to the source, simplicity, and here we just open um, simplicity PDE. So what you have opened now, you have opened the template for the library. And surprisingly, you can make the library just by coding in PDE as you usually do. And here is some example libraries. There's a bouncing ball library, extension for the library. There's a random names function, which is as well, you can take a look at the source if you're interested in. There's a simple utils, and there's a star field. And I'm going to show you, for example, what star field is. Um, First, what we have to do, we have to go back to our processing. Let's minimize everything. Let's go to the processing folder. Let's go to the simplicity. First, what we have to call Windows batch file called install. The Windows will tell you that you need to be protected. You press more info and you press run it anyway. Now what's happened, we just compiled the tools. We installed it, and now what we can do, we have to run the make-lib Windows batch file. So now again I have to press here and run anyway, and now what's happened here is that we just compiled our library. Compiling library, here, edit mode. So here you can see we were compiling library, and compilation of library was successful. Then we were putting library into a jar. So again, here everything was successful. Exit result returned 0, which is okay. And then we were exporting library into your sketchbook folder. Again, it was successful. So everything is fine. You can press any key for this window to disappear. If you want to be sure that the library has been installed successfully, you can always open your sketchbook folder, which is in your documents, my documents, and processing, and here's the libraries folder, and look, we have a library called simplicity, and if we go get inside, there's another library, and here is the simplicity jar file, and it even has a command. Here will be final library jar file. Here it is. Everything seems to be okay. So now let's take a look. I told you that we have here several sample classes over here, and one of them is a star field. And I'll show you how this star field can be utilized in your own sketch. So let's take a look. Let's start new sketch. Let's start new sketch, and again, just do a regular initialization, and regular template. Probably I'm just going to try to copy it somewhere. And then I'm going to write a short description for this sketch. This sketch displays star field using simplicity library. And now what we have to do, we just have to declare here a variable star field. Let's call that saf. Now we have initialized it, instantiated new star field. It should be after the size command. So now we put width and height of the star field, which is going to be equal to the width and height of the screen. Now we put the amount of stars. Let's say we want to have 77 stars flying around, and then we just have to put this. And over here, what we have to do, we can just put sf draw, which will draw the star field, and let's see what's happened. And first of all, when I press run, you see that cannot find a class or time name star field. Usually what you would have to do, you'll have to go to sketch import library, but the list of libraries is updating only every time you restart the processing. So actually I started processing and then I added libraries, so processing didn't notice that. But I can do it manually. All I have to do is have here import simplicity.star, and I'm not going to save it yet, and now I can run for simplicity libraries. Simplicity. What? Why? Because I checked the library was there. Okay, let's try again. My documents, processing, library, simplicity, library, simplicity. It is there. Okay, let's open the open the WinRAR. Simplicity. Oh, it's wow. It's a bit strange. Maybe what I have to do, I have to restart processing. Okay, I'm gonna save the file. I'm gonna save it as in my sketchbook folder under document processing August star field. And now I'm gonna close all my processing instances. Okay, we're gonna save this one as well. We're gonna call it library example1. Example uses 1, and this one is gonna be the example function. Now let's close this. Okay, now I have to restart processing. Let's restart it. And I'll see import library. I have here a simplicity library, so now it should work fine because all it needed is just a restart of processing. So let's go into star field and let's try to run it. And here we are running. You can see that we have a star field, but the stars are not moving. And why does it happen? It happens because I only draw stars and I do not update them. So now I have to put here a variable call to function called step, and now the stars are gonna move. The only problem is that it turns into a mess, but it turns into a mess just because we don't clear the screen. So if we clear the screen, then we are gonna get our star field. Really simple and really cool. So that's what it is. If you want to have a star field, all you have to do is import the library, declare the star field variable, initialize its size, and then you're ready. You can do step and draw the star field whenever you want. You can even play it a little bit differently. You can do you can update the stars only when your mouse is moved. So if you cut it in when your mouse is dragged. So if you put this one over here, you can see the stars are not moving, and as I move the mouse, they are not moving. But if I start dragging the mouse in any direction, the stars start moving. It's pretty cool. And all it is, it's all done just with the help of the Simplicity library. So this is how the Simplicity library or any library can be used. Let's save the changes. So imagine we are coming back to our objective. We wanted to use our function, and the function name was draw random rectangles. So we want to use it like this. As you could have seen in the previous example, that you first have to import the library, and then you have to declare some object. So I have already made it easier for you. You have to declare the object called SimpleUtils. Now all you have to do here is utils new simple. And over here you just will have to call utils draw random rectangles. This is the shortest way you can actually use any of your own functions. All you have to do, import the library, declare the class, instantiate or initialize the class, and then you can use any of its functions or methods you want. But if I try to run this now, it says function draw random rectangle does not exist, and that's true because the function is not in the library yet. So as I said before, let's try to put it into a library. So first I go to open, and again I go to my desktop, to the processing folder, to the simplicity library, to this source Simplicity, and I open Simplicity PDE. So this is our template for the library. You can see there are a few classes here. One of them is Starfield, and this is the complete implementation of the Starfield. We have the star size over here, and we have other variables and everything. It looks like a regular processing sketch with a class, with exception that we have a bit of imports here on the top. We have this package statement, and most of our classes have explicit visibility parameters like public or private, those two words, which are we're gonna cover a bit later. But let's go to the simple utils. Simple utils, this is the class where you are going to be putting your own functions. I already have here a function called random circle, and I'm gonna use it now to show you how you can make it your own function called random rectangles. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use utils random circle, and I'm going to comment out this line because this function is not implemented, and I'm going to run this one. And you can see that on the screen what we can see, we have random circles appearing on the screen, and that's all done by the library. In this case we want to add another function called draw random rectangle. So let's take a look at our original source, draw random rectangles. Here's our function. So let's copy it into the template. You can see there is the random circle method or function, which can be used synonymously in processing. And let's copy it here, and you see the file is modified. This shows it unsaved, so we select save, and now the template is saved. So now let's go again to desktop, to our processing Simplicity, and let's call the Windows batch file called Eclipse. So when we just started doing this, you can actually see that there are a few errors over here. This window is actually wrapping the text, which is not very convenient for reading. So I'll go into the options, and I'll go into the layout, and I'll change window size to 140, which should be to the width. And that's going to make our screen a bit larger. So I'm going to press space, and I'll start this one again. And now it's a little bit easier. So let's take a look. Whilst compiling library, there was an error in the file simpleutils.java on line 38, illegal character hash. And the trick is that when you use this specific character, when you use processing, it understands that hash is a color. Now when you're doing Java files, it doesn't understand that, so it thinks that you need to explicitly explain it Java what it is, and all you have to do is just type this and then the color. So basically all we did, we just replaced this character, hash character was this, and that's it. Now processing understands that. We can delete this line. So we have made this improvement, and let's try to compile the library again. And I'm trying to compile again, I'm getting a lot of errors as well. And what's happening? Again, whilst compiling, we have an error which says cannot find symbol variable width, and it even shows us with the little arrow what's the problem. And the problem is the variable width and height. Let's put it like let's look at those two, width and height. And let's take a look at our sketch. We have a width variable and height variable, which are accessible from within a processing sketch. However, this is a Java file. This is not like a regular sketch. So for the simplicity, you have to insert a reference to sketch. And in the case you're working with simpleutils.java, all you have to do, you just have to type sketch.width and sketch.height, and that will make the thing go. Again, I'll have to save the file. So I'm saving the file. Again, I'm going to press space, and now I'm going to try to compile again. And again, still I have errors. Why? And it's okay, because I intentionally just wanted to lead you through all the steps of how you can convert your regular sketch method into a library method or into a Java method. So what it's complaining is that the symbol, uh, Java calls by symbols any variable names, function names, method names, class names. So symbol random, and over here you can see as well as highlighting it, could not be found, cannot find symbol. What does it mean? And if we look back at our sketch, and it complains that this cannot be found and this cannot be found. The thing as well, all the functions and all the methods you call in your sketch, like random, stroke, fill, rect, anything, they are available from within the sketch. But once we are outside of the sketch, once we are doing the Java file, we actually have to put the explicit reference to sketch. And in case of simple utils Java, all we have to do is just type sketch dot in front of it. Sketch dot, sketch dot, sketch dot. And again, I'm saving the file, save, and then let's try. I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to try to follow my clip again. And again, it's complaining, same error, cannot find symbol, method no stroke. And it cannot find no stroke. But it fits to what I just said. If no stroke is a method or function available from processing, it doesn't mean it's going to be available from within Java. So in case of simple utils Java, all you have to do is just to type sketch. And here again I'm going to go and save, and let's try it again. Again, I'm going to the simplicity template folder, and I'm calling this Windows batch file. And again, it's complaining to me, saying cannot find symbol, method fill, and it cannot find the method fill. Why? And again, it's the same error. It cannot find it because this method or function is available through processing, but it's not available when you're just making a Java class. You have to put, in case of simple utils, you have to put explicit reference. And as you can see, the rect should follow the same suit, and we just have to put it like this. And now we go and save our file, and we can go and try to run compilation again. And look, compilation of library was successful. Compiler exit code is 0. That's what we wanted. Then again, putting library into jar, everything looks perfect. Just added all the files. You can see it's added simple utils class. Everything is perfect. And exporting library into our sketchbook folder. Everything is as well seems fine. No errors or anything. So it seems like we can actually now try to use our library with our example. And here was the example usage file. So we know we can use random circle, but we don't want to use it. We want to use draw random rectangles now. As you can see, we have them. So we try to run it, and oops, we are getting a message. The method draw random rectangles from the type simple utils is not visible. What does it mean? If you take a look carefully at this function, and especially at its header, void draw random rectangles, and you take a look at this random circle function, you see that there is a difference. It's not just void random circle, it has a public statement or public keyword. What does it mean? Everything what you want to from your class, from your utils to be available for from within the sketch, you want to prepend with public word. So you just type here public. Now you type public, and now again you recompile. Again, compilation successful. Everything is okay, and everything adding jarring the file is successful. Exporting is successful as well. Everything is okay. We like it. And then we go back to our example usage, and now we try to use it again. And voila! We just wrote our first function and put it into a library. Perfect. Let's recap again. So all we had to do, we just had to copy the same function. We had to add the public keyword to the beginning, and then every time we were referencing a variable like width or height from the sketch, we would prepend it with sketch dot, or even a function or random function or no stroke function, or fill function, or rect function. We would just prepend it with sketch, and that's how you would how we made it possible. And what you can see as well, but there's one more trick. For example, if I just try to um, do this, for example, rect uh, and I just try to run this, I'll get this rectangle. You see, I've added a code to draw a rectangle, and it draws just a default colored rectangles. If I add here, if I run the random circle function, which I prepared before myself, you can see that I'm getting still a wide rectangle with black stroke, and the red circles are appearing around. Whereas if instead of this, I will use, instead of random circle, I use our new function called draw random rectangles, you'll see that actually the rectangle has changed its color. And why does it happen? The thing is that whenever you want to you start making your sketch and you draw a rectangle and you set up a color, you expect that this color is gonna stay as a default one. You know that when you start sketch, your rectangle is gonna be white with a black stroke. However, when you're drawing the random rectangles, you're changing the style, you're changing the feel, you're changing the stroke. And when you're changing them in your library function, you have to switch them back on. And you can see that the random circle and the random ra rectangles are very similar. You just get x, y, size. We also get here x, y, and size. Here we get another size. And then we have the no stroke, fill, and rect. And here it is at no stroke, fill, and ellipse. But then there are two operators. One is called push style and another is pop style. What I'm doing here, I'm saving the style, so anything Sketch has set up before, let's say color of the current color or font or stroke or the way the lines are joined, it's going to be saved here and then it's going to be restored over here. So this is how our change of color and stroke doesn't affect the whole sketch. So all we have to do, we just have to add these two lines before we actually start changing anything in the sketch. Yeah, in code. So now these two operations, they are going to be three operations. They're going to happen actually between the style is going to be saved. Then we change the style. Then we draw the rectangle. Then we restore the style, all the fields and everything for the sketch to be sure that everything is fine. And again, I'm going to save the file. I'm going to recompile the library. Again, it says everything is fine. And then now I can take our example usage. Now I can run it again with a random circle. And you can see that the circle doesn't affect the color of the rectangle. And then I'm trying to use our function, random rectangles. And now you can see that the rectangles do not affect the color of the big white rectangle. So now your function is perfect and it works very fine. And this is how you can make your own utility function.